With Mike Trout, we all thought we were getting the next Willie Mays. Oh, hold on, everyone. Let's do this again. Appropriately, there's a tech issue on a day where we're talking about Mike Trout and his injuries.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
When am I going to learn to not do these live anymore? Every time I have a live show, something weird happens. My A's show conked out in the middle. Holy Toledo, let's just back it up a little and say welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I am your always on top of things host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. I've been a baseball podcaster for a while, so you think I would know better. And I've been here at the Locked On Podcast Network for the last 6 years, and this year I'm doing double duty. I'm hosting Locked On MLB and Locked On A's. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more as the playoffs have wound down, but the Olympics are going great. You can go to FanDuel, who are hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. I love, there are advantages to doing a show live. That there are disadvantages like tech issues that prop up. Let's go through the trivia question, shall we? And a couple people guessed. No one got it right. The question was, who was the last person to record a postseason save for the Chicago White Sox? Now, Scott Horsemeyer, who I usually can rely on for correct answers, guessed Bobby Jenks. Now, Bobby Jenks was the last one to clinch a playoff series. In the last, 106 years, the Chicago White Sox have won one playoff series, or have advanced in the playoffs one time, and that was in 2005, where they won the Division Series, the League Championship Series, and the World Series. They've not won a round any other year since the 1917 World Series. The last person to record a save for the White Sox was in the COVID year, 2020. The White Sox won Game 1 in Oakland with Alex Colomé getting the save for Lucas Giolito. And just looking back at, this was 2020. It wasn't that long ago. The A's had Chris Bassett. The A's had Tommy La Stella. The A's had Frankie Montas, Matt Olson, Sean Murphy. They had Stephen Piscotty. They had Marcus Semien. They had and the White Sox had Jose Abreu. They had Tim Anderson. They had the aforementioned Colomé. They had Edwin Encarnacion. I bet you forgot that. They had Giolito. They had Grandal, Eloy Jimenez. They had Yohan Moncada, Luis Robert Jr., and I mentioned Tim Anderson before. And, a lot has happened to the A's and the White Sox since they faced off in that playoff series. I mentioned the other day that I hadn't really been looking at the White Sox. I just noticed that they've been losing, and I didn't realize how bad it was. And I made the equivalency of in the novel Jurassic Park when they were keeping track of how many dinosaurs were, that they had a base level of dinosaurs, and then they found out that there was actually so much more. And that's what I felt when I looked at the win-loss record for the White Sox, of which Go Spiffy Fox 8300 on YouTube said, so the White Sox losses are like breeding dinosaurs. Yes, in that you can't control them, and that losses find a way. I know a little too much about Jurassic Park. It's my two sons' favorite movie is Jurassic Park. All right. Horrible news. Horrible baseball news came about yesterday. And it had to do with Mike Trout. And I'm sure some of you have seen this, but Mike Trout, who started the season with a home run in that opening game, and nothing's gone right since. He's been trying to come back. He in fewer than 30 games, he hit 10 home runs, but clearly something was wrong, and he went to surgery in May. He had a torn meniscus in the left knee. If you don't know what a meniscus is, for the love of God, why are you asking me? I'm guessing it's some sort of viscus, which is in the knee. And he began to do his rehab. He was assigned to AAA Salt Lake basically just after the All-Star break. And it was like, okay, the Angels are going nowhere in a hurry. And there is that mindset, well, just have a rehab. But I'm sure, first of all, for him, it's like, hey, I don't want to be rusty for an entire year. And also, he's a Major League Baseball player. He wants to get on the field. I don't blame him. And the Angels are like, there's no other reason to go to a baseball game in Anaheim other than to see Mike Trout these days. So, God's sakes, get your rehab on. And alas, we got word that he got another meniscus tear, and he's out. He's out. And this has been a nightmarish couple of days for Perry Minasian, the general manager of the Angels. I don't know how much of the power of that team belongs to him or not. There seems to be this overriding sense that the team is run by Artie Moreno, and he's making some of the decisions like don't trade away Anderson, don't make moves. We got to try to win now or something. I don't know. But or if it's Perry's choice, then he's making some horrible decisions. And I can't blame Moreno for everything. Moreno was one of the two worst owners in baseball. The worst are the Fishers. They're awful people. They're scam artists and everything. Fine. Moreno's done a lot wrong. And all you got to look for is we are now in the 10th anniversary of Mike Trout's lone postseason appearance. The one time in Mike Trout's career that he's played in the postseason was 10 years ago. And it was a blink and you'll miss it 3-game sweep by Kansas City. Now, Mike Trout's legacy would have been a lot different. There were 2 instances where he came up with the game on the line in extra innings where one swing of his bat could have won the game for the Angels. And chances are if they had eliminated Kansas City, they probably would have gone to the World Series. Mike Trout's entire legacy and entire narrative about him would have been different with an early World Series victory. That would have been his 3rd full season, 2014. And arguably could have been his 3rd MVP. He wound up winning 3 MVPs. And frankly, I have what I call the Coen Brothers rule, which is if you've won multiple awards, I can't bitch and moan if you don't pad your resume. But the fact of the matter is this: Mike Trout is the greatest player in the history of the Angels. Period. End of sentence. Mike Trout was the best player in baseball in the 2010s. When you consider he didn't play in the majors until having a cup of coffee with the team in 2011, that's pretty remarkable. You go to baseballreference.com, the single greatest website in the history of planet Earth. Whether you like traditional stats, advanced sabermetrics, or stats I couldn't comprehend in 10,000 years, you'll love Mike Trout. I saw him play live several times. He homered. I've seen him homer live twice. He's led the league in just about any category you'd want to be. He's never been a home run champion, but he's consistently would be in the high 30s, low 40s. And he's been a stolen base champion, led the league in walks, led the league in runs, led the league in OPS, led the OPS plus, right down the line. Cut his strikeout totals in half when he struck out too much. All these great things that he did in his career, and did so with winning multiple gold gloves and winning multiple silver sluggers and all that stuff. Running hard, playing hard, and signing with the Angels long term. He had every right to skip town. And he said, I want to win with the team that brought me up. And apparently had that great mentality that he was like calling like farmhands and everything else. Like, hey, I see you're progressing. Can't wait to see you in Anaheim. They had a generational talent. They paired him with another generational talent. They had two unicorns on the same team for a period. Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. At the same time. And all they had to do was put a mediocre team around them. Mediocre. Not a great team. A mediocre team around those two. And they would have won the division. Yeah, they were playing in a time where the Astros were there. Fine. Then they would have been the wild card every year. Fine. But alas, everything went wrong. They didn't have a single winning season during the Trout Ohtani years. Ohtani scrammed. He said, enough of this. I'm out. And now you take a look at the last bunch of years. When he's on the field, he's great. He had 40 home runs in 2022 in 119 games. But he played 36 games in 2021. Was great when he was on the field. He missed 40 some odd games, in 2022. He missed half the season last year, and he only played 29 games this year. He is now in that stage of his career, kind of like midway through Ken Griffey Jr.'s tenure with the Reds, where he's off the field more often than he's on. He's a frustrating shadow of a reminder of what could have been instead of being the great face of baseball. And at least Griffey, who like Mike Trout, never went to the World Series. At least he had a postseason highlight. He had that great series where he had 5 home runs against the Yankees and had that great the visual. When you think of Ken Griffey Jr., chances are one of the 2 or 3 highlights you'll think of is him running from first and scoring the clinching run against the Yankees in 1995. At least there was the Ken Griffey Jr. moment. We haven't had the Mike Trout moment. And we're now in what is clearly the decline of his career. We thought we had Willie Mays. Instead, we had Ernie Banks. And there's nothing wrong with Ernie Banks, except Ernie Banks was that great, beloved, played baseball the way you wanted to, beloved by the fans, MVP caliber player who was cursed to play on a team that couldn't win the pennant. Ernie Banks never played a postseason game. He played his whole career with the Cubs. Trout's he's never won a postseason game. Played 3 more than me. And now you're taking a look at this team. And it is a shame. And we come back, I want to talk about the fact that it's even more shameful than you think. And I hate to say it because some might find this to be immoral. But in a weird way, I'm finding this to possibly be a argument for something for us to rethink our values. Hey, let's hear from our friends over at FanDuel. You know what FanDuel is, right? FanDuel is the place you go to for all your sports betting needs. Now, look, I love sports, and it's a great time to have sports. You got baseball going on. You got the Olympics going on. I'm going to put my money down on the gymnastics. Why not? FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. Head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Let's hear from our friends over at SupplyHouse. Now, get supplies from the site that's made for skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is a reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources, the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folk in the business, Talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping and discounts on every order, and you can join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM. Order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. That site again is SupplyHouse.com. Hey, where is your hub for all of your sports, for all your sports news, for all your sports takes, for all your sports opinions? May I recommend you make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program to bring you the biggest sports stories of the day. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or on the free Amazon Fire TV channel app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which your team every day. PEDs. PEDs. Let's talk about them for a second, shall we? Now, when they were illegal, and they still are, the use of PEDs were a health issue and it was a legality issue. It was a drug dealing issue. And it was a situation where you were having people bringing God knows what into locker rooms, into the bathrooms and everything. They were going to shady labs and eventually being in a bathroom with Alex Rodriguez's cousin, injecting some sort of horse serum into their ass. And it was causing body problems. It probably led to the death of Ken Caminiti and probably caused all sorts of horrible issues with kids throughout the country. And I know some people really objected when I said that I'm for Bonds and Sosa and McGuire to be in the Hall of Fame. I still do, but I understand they cheated. And I understand the reason for those rules. It isn't something that is arbitrary. It's about safety. But hear me out. One of the things we kept hearing is that PEDs were best used for recovery, not just to turn, lean, muscular Barry Bonds into the Thing from the Fantastic Four, but rather recovery. I'm injured. Let's recover. How many times do you hear things about we have, if only Fred Lynn didn't get hurt, if only Mark Fidrich didn't get hurt, if only Eric Davis didn't get hurt, what careers would they have had? What careers would Nomar have had? What career would Bo Jackson have had if he didn't get hurt? All these different things. What career would Bill Walton have had if he didn't get hurt? And we have medication. We have access to medicines and medical procedures that we didn't have. What if it was not the use of some of these anabolic steroids and human growth hormone and everything was done with supervision of doctors and above board? My son's had a steroid injected to them when he was a baby and his lungs weren't open. A lot of us take some sort of medication. I have some within arm's distance. What if they're done through the supervision of someone in the medical community? Or what if we have it so a Mike Trout can recover and be back on the field and providing memories? What if it isn't shady? What if it isn't illegal? What if it isn't irresponsible? What if it isn't A-Rod A-Rod and his cousin in a bathroom stall, but rather at a clinic? I mean, sometimes the idea of Bo Jackson having an artificial hip, which he did and did manage to play a couple of seasons with the White Sox and half a season with the Angels with an artificial hip, isn't that a form of a medical advance that worked that we didn't have a problem with? What if the medication isn't the crazy stuff they were giving the Eastern European Olympians in the 70s where they didn't know what it was? What if something was tested and trial and error? Like this here. If we have our stars on the field more. Is that such a crazy concept to at least entertain? Is it a crazy concept? I'll tell you another thing it should entertain is getting a new owner in for the Angels and new management in there. My God, they've whiffed on so many first-round draft picks, and they bombed so many free agents. As I said, all they had to do was put a mediocre product around them, but they didn't. And we can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Why do I have a tube of toothpaste on my desk? But maybe as Mike Trout enters the second half of Paul Molitor's career, where he can't play on the field as often, but he has to be on first base or a DH, eventually we're going to get that. Give him a first baseman's glove. Teach him first base. Get him the hell out of the outfield. If he doesn't want to DH yet, have him be at first. Fine. But keep his bat in there. Keep him healthy. And if some sort of performance-enhancing drug will help heal his knee, I don't have an issue with it. And if it's done on the up and up, not in a sneaky way, then maybe, just maybe, we can take a look at things a little differently. When things are done on the up and up, people seem to be okay with it. You don't believe me? I just read a damn FanDuel ad read. When the biggest no-no in the world is about gambling. So it's not about, we're at the barber shop or we're at some other place doing a sneaky behind the, behind a closed door, but it's in the open. It's in the open. I want more Mike Trout years. I don't want Mike Trout to be our Eric Davis or Nomar or Ernie Banks. I want to have a couple of great moments. If it's later in his career, fine. Dave Winfield didn't win his ring till much later, but I'd like to see him do it with the Angels. Because that'd be nice to have him be like our recent Hall of Famers, Todd Helton and Joe Mauer. Why aren't players more loyal? Joe Mauer and Todd Helton, 1 year or one team their whole career. That should be Mike Trout. But holy Doug DeSenseis. Let's keep him healthy, shall we? And by the way, Jeff Cohen is repeating exactly what I said. I understand what you're saying. That we all want to start the field. Medication should be administered by the training medical staff, not A-Rod's cousin. That's exactly what I'm saying. It would be like if we had Tommy John's surgery being done by Tommy John's cousin. No, they go to the doctor. This will help Mike Trout recover. How am I wrong? How am I wrong? All right, I'm starting to get dehydrated. You know what that means. All right, let's hear from our brand new friends that we have over at Liquid IQ. Now, if you don't know what Liquid IQ is, let me tell you something. It is a great way to have a summer treat that will keep you refreshed, keep you hydrated, and have it be delicious. When you're taking in America's pastime, don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IQ's Popsicle Firecracker flavor. It's a surefire summer hit. You get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powder hydration brand in America, because baseball and summer go together like Liquid IV and indulgent hydration. They've got all sorts of flavors that you can have. You can blast off with the iconic summer flavor of Popsicle Firecracker, which is a festive blend of citrus-fueled lemon, lime, tart cherry, and raspberry flavors. And I'm telling you, you always have me at raspberry. You can find your favorite flavors on the website, from acai berry to lemon lime to pina colada. Don't get caught in the rain. Tear, pour, live more. One stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. Powered by LIV Hydra Science. Hail Hydra, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, worry-free. No more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV. When you go to liquidiv.com, use code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop. Better hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. Sing it with me. liquidiv.com. Hey, this is a reminder that Locked On has created the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or on the free Amazon Fire TV channel app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. All right, a lot of games are going on. The weekend games are starting up, and you're starting to see this is where, I'm going to talk a little bit. I was going to talk today about a different topic, but the Mike Trout thing came up, and quite frankly, I had to talk about that today. But there's a whole bunch of players who were recently acquired who are going to be making their debuts over this weekend. Eric Fedde is with the Cardinals now. He is two of the White Sox only 3 wins in the month of July, and now he's with St. Louis. Frankie Montas is making his Brewers debut. Speaking of former A's, Javier Assad is going to be pitching for the Cubs against Frankie Montas. And then you can see Jack Flaherty, who's going to be right across the bay. I'm here in the Bay Area. Jack Flaherty is going to be making his debut with the LA Dodgers against Mitch Spence. And Michael Lorenzen is going to be making his debut for the Kansas City Royals. The Orioles have acquired a whole bunch of brand new relief pitchers, and I really think they got to just, frankly, they have to just say no more to Craig Kimbrell. Kimbrell is not going to be your automatic closer. You have to mix and match based upon who the best pitcher is for that moment. Because Kimbrell is no longer the lockdown. At one point he was. When he pitched with Atlanta, yes, he was a lockdown, can't-miss relief pitcher. He had a good season with San Diego. He had one very good year with Boston. But for most of the time since the last 8 years, he's been sometimes very good, sometimes going to give you a heart attack. But he is not in that zone, that Rivera zone, where Rivera was lights out for a generation. Or sometimes you have those years where a relief pitcher is so dominant, you're like, let him go. Let him go. Brad Lidge in 2008 certainly was that. But by the next year, it wasn't so much. Koji Uehara certainly was that way with the 2013 Red Sox. Eventually, that faded out. Kimbrell, I'm sure he gives you bullpen depth. And there may be situations where he is the best. But sometimes it will be Seranthony Dominguez or someone else. If just because he has the most number of saves and has a great career as a reliever doesn't always mean you hand him the ball in the 9th. And at some point, they're going to find that out. And I hope they don't find out the hard way. So anyway, we got a full slate of games. We have a full slate of games going on. But, listen to what Bruce Bochy, when he managed the Giants, yeah, he would have like Wilson close one year, Romo close another year, but he would also mix and match. He would bring in the right person for the right time. Even if it was Madison Bumgarner, he would make that decision. And last year, when, we have, this is our roles, heck with it. Well, if Josh Spores close it out, he's pitching well. It should be relief pitching, not here's your slot pitching. And he was like, Spores is doing a good job. Let him run. And that's what happened. Can't keep handing the ball to Kimbrell. Kimbrell will blow a big game in the postseason if you treat him like he's Mariano Rivera circa 2005. All right, I digress. Let's go to another question here. Again, my interest in closers go. The trivia question is, who was the last Oriole to record a save in the postseason? The answer may be more difficult than you remember. Follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or on Instagram. I am your pal Sully at Sully Baseball Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Mad at the Angels and offering PEDs as a solution. This is Locked On MLB. I'm going to take the weekend off. I'll see you all on Monday. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.